ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Mafex DC figure unboxing and review. That's right, today is finally the day. Batman Hush in his blue suit is here. Now, I didn't want to just jump right in, I had to read Hush first. I've now done that, so I am even more excited to get this guy out here. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button for more info on Justin's Collection Plus, the channel membership. As for the box art, I really like it. It's the perfect blend of subtle yet classy at the same time. On the one side, we've got an open window showcasing Batman himself. On the other, Batman Hush, plus an image of the prototype version of this figure. On the side of the box, Batman Hush, another proto shot. On the back, a bunch more proto shots, as well as up top, you guessed it, Batman Hush. On the inside, we not only have the figure, but an absolutely stunning piece of artwork from Batman Hush. I love the way this looks. I kind of wish that was some kind of backdrop, so, you could actually get to use it, but nevertheless, the attention to detail on the packaging, even on the inside, is next level. Now, I've seen the other reviews enough to know that not everyone loves this figure. Some people were hoping that, oh yes, this is going to be the best Batman in this scale. But unfortunately, some things kind of let this guy down just a little. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. For some reason, people really don't like these bases. I do, though. They're translucent plastic, the bottom section is rather slim, so it's not going to add a ton of height to your figure. You also have multiple different points that the arm can plug into, and the arm is multi-jointed. You can also tighten up the screws if you find it getting a little bit loose over time. Plus, up top, a non-spring-loaded waist clamp. This is just a friction fit. When it comes to cowled head sculpts, we do get two of them. One that's a little bit more stoic, and one that's a lot angrier. They're both painted in the same way, with this base layer of blue and some shading over the top, white eyes, and some matte finish skin tone. I like the color of the skin tone. It's a little pale, but on the body it's a total non-issue. I also like the print for the teeth on the gritted teeth head sculpt. It's not painted, it's digitally printed, but it worked out really well. Unfortunately, the paint around the mouth area for the stoic one is a little sloppy, so in my display, yeah, I'm probably going to end up using this one. That's not all for the head sculpts though. We also get an unmasked Bruce Wayne head sculpt, and it comes with its own skin tone neck. Now, the neck you use for the cowl head sculpts is the same mold, but of course it's a completely different color, so when you pop this on the body, it actually looks right, like he's taken off the full cowl. It's not just this head sculpt on a blue neck. Now, the sculpt is good, it kind of looks like Bruce Wayne from the book. The only complaint some people have had is the blue shading. Now, it is subtle, but trust me, it's absolutely there. There are just some blue highlights for his hair and also his eyebrows. I do like the subtle shading to the skin tone. Again, it's subtle, but it's there. You do get two different grappling guns, one for the left side, one for the right side, and the grappling hooks are interchangeable between both of them. So if you decide, oh, I want the grappling hook with the short cable on the other side, yeah, you can absolutely do that. They are fully compatible. The little metal rod is real metal, which is a nice touch. The hook itself is plastic, but it's painted in a bright, shiny silver. Now, the other one is a lot longer, also real metal. It slides in there super securely. Luckily, because that rod is as sturdy as it is, it doesn't really droop at all. I also like that the grappling gun is permanently attached to the hand, because it would be a tight fit, and this grappling gun is kind of a funky shape. You do get 4 batarangs in total and 2 different styles. This one is the smaller of the two, kind of more iconic with the little bat ears up on top, painted in bright silver, plus this one that kind of looks a lot more futuristic. I probably won't go with this, but it's also painted in bright, shiny silver. Lastly, you do get a full array of hands. This one is my absolute favourite. He's got batarangs between each finger. No, they're not removable, but they are painted and they look really good. As for the paint on the hands, they're done in this dark blue, plus there is some shading up on top as well. What we are going to do now, though, is get Batman himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Yeah, pretty boring pose, literally just standing there. What did you do, Justin? Just take him out of the box and pop him on the turntable? Oh, I wish that's what I did. I had to take him out of the box and spend, no joke, half an hour getting this cape to play ball. This cape is deplorable. There's far too much of it, it's super hard to work with. In my opinion, it almost ruins the entire figure. We'll discuss the cape in just a second. What about the rest of the figure? The paint is good. I like the sculpt, I like the proportions, and I like the choice of head sculpts. But are those things enough to save the figure from the dreadful cape? You may be thinking, oh, he looks alright standing there, the cape isn't that bad. Don't you worry, you'll see what I mean in just a second. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the head sculpt first. I know we've already discussed the various head sculpts in the accessory segment, but it's worth noting, I really like this one. It's the neutral look, the skin tone is still a little pale for me, but the colour match between the cowl, the neck, and the bottom piece is perfect. The blue is the same shade. Speaking of shade, there is a little bit of shading over the top, and as I said, it all comes together really nicely. This one might be my favourite. He's angrier, his teeth are gritted, and when you get to dynamic posing, this one will work a treat. Now, one thing that I don't really love is this gap right here. It's really ugly, and I think it's a byproduct of the massive cape, which, don't worry, we're getting to in just a second. Then, of course, we have the Bruce Wayne head sculpt. I still really like the sculpt and the skin tone neck that sits inside this collar piece. It just makes it look that little bit more natural. Speaking of natural, though, if you compare the skin tone from the cowl to the Bruce Wayne head sculpt, then Mafex, we have a problem. Why is the skin tone so much paler on this head sculpt and the angry one compared to the Bruce Wayne sculpt? It's supposed to be the same guy, but as you can see, there is a clear difference. Do let me know, though, which head sculpt is your favourite down below. Alright, it's time. Let's discuss this absolute monster of a cape. It is huge. It's all fabric. I like the colour and I like the texture. I don't really like how much of it there is, though. It is so cumbersome to work with. Now, you've got wires around the front, so yes, you can kind of pose it, but it's so big, it's so bulky, there's so much cape that it kind of just wants to do its own thing anyway. You have some wires in the additional spines dotted throughout, and the bottom is cut to look like a Batman cape, but overall, this is my least favourite Mafex cape. They just went way too big. And that's crazy to me considering the triumphant Batman, the Dark Knight Returns black suit, those capes were beautiful. Whereas with this one, I'm pretty sure this was one of their first fabric capes for a Batman figure, and yeah, you can absolutely tell. I will be trying my best to make the cape look good in the poses at the end, but no promises. It's super tricky to work with. Now, I'm hoping the black suit version has a smaller cape. We will find out. I already have it here in hand. I cannot wait to review that version as well. Now, on the upper torso, you of course have the bat symbol. The paint is a little sloppy, but it is fully sculpted in, and the musculature looks awesome. The muscles are in all the right places. It's this matte grey with this darker shading in the crevices, and overall, yeah, this looks like Hush Batman. Now, one complaint that I have is the belt does sit a little high. When it rides up, it covers up his lower set of abs, so he looks a little bit stumpy. I'm considering gluing mine down a little bit lower just to reveal slightly more of his ab section. Now the arms are big and beefy, the musculature continues all the way down to the forearms. And I'm pleased to report the gauntlet spikes are rubber. That means no worries about breakage, they are nice and sturdy and flexible. So when you get a little bit more dynamic with your posing, no need to worry about putting too much pressure on these pieces right here. The belt is well sculpted, there are multiple pockets, it's painted in bright yellow. Now on the prototype there was a little bit of orange shading. I would have loved to have seen that here because for the most part, as far as I can tell, it just looks all yellow. Seeing as though he is wearing a grey spandex suit in the books, it kind of makes sense that the legs are painted in the exact same way as the upper torso, meaning matte grey with some darker shading in the musculature. His boots are fully sculpted, you can feel this ridge, it's not just painted on, but the paint looks really good. It's that same deep rich blue as everything else, there's some shading and even more shading around the base of the sole, which yes, is sculpted with some dread that is accurate to the panels of Batman swinging in Hush. Talk about some next level attention to detail, this is it right here. They've also added this additional flap on the outside of the ball hinge, so from the outside of the figure it looks way cleaner. Whereas with other companies you'd see something like this. Oh no, Mafex have got you covered, and yeah, I love this. For a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the Mafex Hush Batman in blue on the left, and the DC Multiverse Hush Batman in black on the right. As you can see, McFarlane is a larger scale, meaning a bigger figure. I personally prefer the Mafex size, I think it's a little bit more manageable, although, as you'll already know, that is not a word I would use to describe his cape. I do prefer fabric wired capes, but not like this. Never like this, it is far too big. So even standing there, yeah, he looks kinda goofy. That being said, you do have a fully sculpted cape with the McFarlane figure, and it looks pretty good. It's not perfect either, each of them have their drawbacks. I am curious, which do you prefer? Next up, here we have my current and still reigning Batman 6-inch champ, the Batman Triumphant from The Dark Knight Returns. This is also a Mafex figure, but it's significantly different. He's bigger, he's beefier, there is a ton more paint here, plus the cape is way better. It's still fabric, but it's this crinkle-cut style of pleated fabric. There's far less of it, the wires are a little bit stronger, and as you can see, the blue is a lot brighter. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it is articulated independently to the neck, looking forward to there, looking back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. Now the arms will go up to there, forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow that does get you past 90, plus a hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso will crunch forward to there, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. The legs drop down, going forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, a hinge and swivel for the ankle, plus, of course, toe articulation. Wrapping up on the Medicom Mafex Batman Hush Batman. Going into this, I was really excited. I'm a huge Batman fan, and some people were saying, oh yes, this is the best 6-inch Batman ever. And he comes really close. The one thing that lets him down for me, the cape. There's too much of it, it's really bulky. Now, yes, if you take your time and you sit down and you pose, it can look pretty good. But it's still not perfect, it's really bulky. It's cumbersome, as I said earlier, a word that I have never used in a figure review, it's deplorable. What were Mafex thinking? I don't know, but fingers crossed they never try and give a Batman figure this big of a cape ever again. Everything else is exceptional. The articulation, because of the smooth joints, is really good. The body proportions are on point. He's beefy, he's muscular. The paint applications for the bodysuit, it's well shaded. Plus he comes with multiple head sculpts and a bunch of accessories. I'm really happy. I am going to try and find a replacement cape at some point, but for now I guess I'm going to have to do the work, sit down and futz with the cape. And where does that leave this guy in terms of my 6-inch Batman figure rankings? Well, he quite comfortably comes in at number 3. Number 1, Triumphant Batman, also by Mafex. Number 2, the Black Suit Batman from Dark Knight Returns, also by Mafex. So they've got the top 3 spots. Yeah, not a bad effort. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment and subscribe and we'll catch you in the next video.